They called me a nobody, with thermos full of steak I paid for when I am 38. And my family ghosted me for 5 years until they needed someone to foot the bill. For my sister's promotion dinner they smiled, toasted, laughed like I didn't exist then. My father raised his glass and said to those who serve with honor, and those who just serve their egos. Even my mother looked away, but the room froze when a man in full uniform walked in. He didn't glance at them, he came straight to me. "General Strickland, ma'am, welcome back. So much for being a nobody, ever been erased by your own blood, tell me below and buckle up, the story is just getting started." When I came home that fall it was banners or warm embraces. It was me, Lena Strickland, limping up the driveway with 2 duffel bags and a chest full of excellence. No one knew where I'd been, noon had asked. Dad decided to throw a small Veterans Day potluck, inviting his old uni buddies and neighbors who'd worn a uniform decades ago. Melody, my sister, stood radiant in her fresh-pressed National Guard blues, only 4 years in, and they acted like she'd won. Where I was there as a formality, non tag, no seat. Aunt Rachel pointed to a chair by the water jug. "Sweetie, that's for Lieutenant Strickland, mind sliding over there?" I sat next to derailed eggs, behind me a wall full of photos. Dad in Vietnam, Grandpa in World War II, Melody's graduation, no sign of me. "Where's a picture of me in uniform?" I asked Mom. She didn't even look up. It was getting old, thought we'd used to me thing more with senator. During small talk someone asked what I was doing now. Melody chimed in first. She used to be some kind of consultant, probably on retirement now. Noon laughed, cry. That was the worst part, it was casual, like my legacy didn't matter, like I didn't matter. I slipped away to refill my water when a ready colonel stopped me. "I remember your name, Langy, trade directive, hell of a plan, Ismail tight, it had too many pagas maybe. But it saved lives." He nodded, answer respectful, and kept walking. One man remembered in a room full of forced forgetfulness, that flicker of recognition felt like oxygen. The morning after the potluck I wandered into the living room, still sore from the folding chair. Dad's medals gleamed inside the old cabinet, right beside Melody's polished graduation plaque. I was expecting to find my photo, but my eye still searched old habits. There was an empty space, not quite blank, but dust shadowed, like something had been removed. Eddie opened the drawer below my West Point commissioning frame was there, but that photo was gone. In its place, the cardboard stock image it came with. I asked Mom later, "When did you take my picture out?" She didn't flinch. I was swearing that wall needed air. No one of us is those things. No one noticing is kind of the whole point. I said that night we had dinner. Melody buzzed with news, promotion ceremony, confirm at private dining room near base. They even hang your photo for the week if you're reading. Honored. Mom clap sounds. Level Alina. We're something simple, okay, nothing too attention grabbing. He nodded. I'd once briefed senior command in body armor, but apparently my gray blouse was too loud for family dinner. Later, folding laundry in the guest room, I got a message, no name, just they were digging into Langitra old files or names in them. Be careful, it was a mission that ended my career. One I took the fall for. I walked into the living room again, found that empty frame still sitting there, still blank. I ran my finger around the border where my photo used to be. They hadn't thrown it out. That would have been too direct. They'd shelved me like a decoration that no longer matched their at Melody ceremony. I wore a black dress and a long wool coat, understated, controlled, trained posture. The office Sarah check-in didn't recognize me, and you were a guest. Before I could answer, Melody slid in, smiling. "She's family US at OB admin or something, she's just here for me." She gave me a side hug, light as almost mosquito landing. I didn't flinch. I was trained not to. I sat at the far table, non card, no introduction, just a napkin and half-empty glass of water. Then Melody took the podium. She shone, voice confident, posture perfect, the golden child. "I want to share a story." She said, "When I was a kid, my sister once told me to go ahead and try. I don't think I can keep up with you." And that stuck with him. She laughed. The crowd chuckled politely. That was my origin line in her fairy tale. Husband's sister, the stepping stone. I stared at my forked knuckles. White A wasn't going to be the punchline. Then the doors opened. A man in dress blue stepped in, Pentagon insignia on his colored shoulders that had seen real war scan the room. Not a glance at Dad and Melody. He walked right to me. "Snappy to salute, General Strickland, Mom. It's been far too long." You could hear a pin drop. My father's fork stopped mid-cup. Melody blinked like she'd been slapped. Barrett turned to the crowd. "This woman coordinated withdrawal routes during Operation Hawthorne, half of NATO. I was sure their lives." Gasps was pursed. There shifted. I didn't smile. I didn't need to. Later, a young cadet approached. "Ma'am, are you really a general?" I looked him in the eye. Once I gave theater not to fire even when protocol said I could. There were children inside a target zone. I chose consequence over casualties. He leaned closer. "You tell me what title does that earn?" He didn't answer. Headed at need to. I left that dinner without goodbyes, no hugs, no parting words. It didn't feel like triumph. It felt like an old wound finally breathing, but I knew this wasn't over because while the spotlight shifted for a second, truth was still buried, and someone out there was already working to bury it. To Perth next morning, I woke to a massage with a subject line that punched their breath from my lungs. Langy, tragic, brief, urgent inquiry. It was from a military journalist. Received a classified, fully implicating you In civilian casualties, please confirm or refute that Miss the one that ended my career. Wasn't failure, it was sabotage. I had flagged false intel. I was the only one who did one. It collapsed. They needed a fall guy, a scapegoat. That was me. I called Sarah Weedham, a brilliant former analyst. Should trust the leak's access point. It came from your sister's old Gardas, she said. Melodies. I didn't cry, I didn't scream. I drove straight to her base. She didn't deny it, just looked at me, jaw clenched. I was tired. She said, tired of you always being the golden one even when you're in there. I looked at her not as a rival but as a girl. I once taught to ride a bike. I know what it feels like to be raised. But I never tried to erase you. She blinked. I was wrong. I didn't need her apology. I needed the truth to survive that night. Sarah got us into a cold server room on base. We found the audio file. General Va crystal clear during a strike on civilian zones. Meyer flag was right. If this goes public, Sarah said, he's done. But by morning the use was gone in his place. A note, you think. You're the only one who remembers show war work stamped with the insignia of a disbanded Black Ops unit. And Sarah vanished. I called in one last favor, Barrett and Melody. She showed up at mid-or. I found the deletion logs. It was fun. I'm not going to erase you again. Didn't hug, but for the first time I believed her. The silence they built around me for years. We were about to shatter it. The truth came out at a military summit in Arlington. Barrett smuggled me and Melody volunteered to go inside wearing a wire. General von Wassel already there, polished, smug, commanding. Room like a battlefield. Then his voice rang out, projected from the AV system across the entire hall. Civilian risk noted acceptable. Proceed. His own words. Gasped. Silence. Faces turned. Van Paul security didn't shout. They escorted him out quietly like peeling rot from walls. Melody and I, we were questioned but not charged. She kept herring. I kept my voice. The headlines followed. General Lena Strickland identif as whistleblower and Langitira cover-up. But this wasn't about revenge. This was about dignity. Weeks later I declined reinstatement. They offered me rank title back. Hey, I wanted none of it. Instead I returned to the academy to teach cadets how to think, not just follow. Melody left the garage, joined an independent watchdog group investigating military corruption. We can't change the past, she said, but we can stop it from repeating. One afternoon we visited our childhood home. On the mantle to photos, Heron and no mine. Our mother looked at us with a quiet kind of apology, not in words. Butin placement, no ceremony, no speech, just a photo returned to where it always belonged. That's what healing looks like, not loud, not fast, just real in me. I teach a course called Moral Intelligentsia, and the last day one cadet left a note he used to think. Courage was a loud scream. No, I know it's the quiet truth when noon's listening. That's the legacy I leave, not the medals, but the echo of Simeon who refused to stay silent. If this story hit close to home, if you've ever felt invisible in your own familiar, had to reclaim your worth when no one clapped for you, leave a comment. Tell me where you're from, and most of all, don't let anyone rewrite your truth. Subscribe for more stories that fight for the quiet ones. You're not alone.